How did a driver who conquered the F1 world in the 1976 season go from being a champion who dethroned Niki Lauda to getting nearly homeless in the final years of his life before passing away at 42 in 1993? Today, we will dive into the past and look at the life of a charismatic F1 driver who lived his life to the fullest, one day at a time. He had it all, but ended up throwing everything away, leaving him with nothing but memories before his eventual demise. Hi there, welcome to a brand new video. This is Kai, and today we will share a fascinating story about one of the icons of the Formula One fraternity. This is the story of the 1976 Formula One World Champion, James Hunt. James Simon Wallace Hunt was born on August 1947 into the family of a London stockbroker. From an early age, Hunt developed a personality that constituted being highly competitive and overly confident. However, he also simultaneously developed the nature of being rebellious and carefree, not considering anyone else's feelings apart from his own. On his 18th birthday, he saw his first race, a mini racing event, and decided he wanted to be a Formula One driver. Hunt started his racing career in mini racing, where he developed a mini race car and raced it in different events. The early days proved challenging for him, as the car he would develop wouldn't be allowed to enter any races by the scrutineers because they would fail their inspection tests. Though you might think they were harsh, they had excellent reasons for not allowing Hunt to enter his car into events. One example of their impartiality was that Hunt tried to enter a car into the race with a lawn chair as a driver's seat. Hunt later graduated from Formula Ford and later to Formula 3 in 1969. His Formula 3 career didn't start as well as he'd hoped. While undoubtedly fast, he earned a reputation for totaling his car on many occasions. Hunt the Shunt, as they used to call him, was a very aggressive driver, refusing to concede a position to anyone and shunting his car on many occasions while hunting for the fastest times. Eventually, he learned to control his nerves and keep his car on the track long enough to win races and finish on podiums. However, by then, Hunt's reputation as an aggressive driver and laid-back approach to life didn't earn him many favors from the F1 racing community. Teams were reluctant to hire a driver, which they felt they couldn't control. His saving grace came in the shape of Lord Alexander Hesketh. As a young, eccentric British aristocrat who inherited a fortune, Lord Hesketh never felt shy about spending his fortune on things he loved doing. His love for motorsports drove Hesketh to enter the 1974 Formula One Championship as Hesketh Racing. The F1 fraternity didn't feel any excitement by this latest entry, as the Hesketh team showed no signs of competing for trophies. People used to joke that the group had more showgirls surrounding the car than the mechanics hired to work on it. Hunt had 9 DNFs in 15 races of the 1974 season. The team won its debut F1 race in 1975 at the Dutch Grand Prix. Hunt had started to build a rivalry with the eventual world champion of the 1975 season, Niki Lauda. But his fortunes were downturned when the Hesketh team folded operations at the end of the 1975 season. However, fate decided to give Hunt another opportunity to have a crack at his dream of becoming a champion. Emerson Fittipaldi of McLaren decided to leave the team before the 1976 season. Hunt convinced the team to hire him instead of Jackie Ickx. He now had a car matching his rival's pace, Ferrari's Niki Lauda. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and the bell icon to get future updates on more exciting content. James Hunt and Niki Lauda's rivalry in the 1976 Formula One season is considered one of the most intense and memorable in the sport's history. The two drivers competed for the World Championship title, with Hunt driving for McLaren and Lauda for Ferrari. Their rivalry was fueled by their very different personalities and approaches to racing. Hunt was known for his aggressive driving style and wild lifestyle off the track, while Lauda was a more methodical and calculated driver who was intensely focused on winning. While on camera, it looked like both drivers despised each other. In reality, they had tremendous respect for one another. Their rivalry reached a boiling point in the 1976 German Grand Prix when Lauda suffered a horrific crash that left him with severe burns and injuries. Despite his injuries, Lauda returned to racing just 6 weeks later and continued to compete for the World Championship title with Hunt. The two drivers traded victories and podium finishes throughout the rest of the season until the season reached its final race in Japan. Going into the race weekend, Lauda had a 3-point lead over Hunt in the World Championship standings, and the stage was set for a dramatic showdown at the Fuji Speedway. The race began in treacherous conditions, with heavy rain making the track extremely slippery and difficult to navigate. Lauda, who had suffered severe burns in a crash earlier in the season, was particularly cautious and struggled to find his rhythm. He eventually decided to retire his car after lap 2, citing that the conditions were too dangerous to continue. With Lauda out of his way, it looked like Hunt would waltz his way onto the top step of the podium and win the Drivers' Championship. But in the closing stages, he suffered extensive tire wear and was forced to pit for new tires. When he came out with just a few laps remaining, he was 5th on the grid. Hunt needed to pass P3 to overtake Lauda in the driver's standings. Driving furiously, Hunt passed the two cars ahead of him and eventually realized his dream of becoming an F1 champion. After winning the 1976 WDC, Hunt remained with McLaren for 2 more years but couldn't repeat the success of his 1976 season. In 1979, Hunt left McLaren and joined the Wolf team. He retired from 6 of the 7 races he started in. After failing to finish the race at the Monaco Grand Prix, Hunt announced his retirement from the sport. He achieved what he wanted, which was winning the F1 World title, and in his last year, he became disillusioned with the sport, wanting to avoid repeating his success. After his retirement, Hunt decided to join BBC as an F1 commentator. His deep voice, exuberant talking style, and expression of his feelings on the microphone regarding the current drivers without sugarcoating anything made him an instant fan favorite. James Hunt worked as a commentator and analyst for the BBC's Formula One coverage from 1980 to 1993, the year of his death. However, his broadcasting career was subject to controversy. His unwillingness to filter his words when he didn't like what he saw on the track, constantly criticizing backmarkers for ruining the races for frontrunners and using choice words for them, also gathered him some haters. Despite this, Hunt remained vital to the BBC's Formula One coverage throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. He worked alongside fellow commentators Murray Walker and Jonathan Palmer, and the trio became known for their lively and entertaining banter. However, after all the drama in his life, he couldn't let go of his habit of spending more money than he could afford. Hunt's extravagant lifestyle was expensive, eventually leading to financial difficulties. He was known to spend money on parties, drugs, and gambling, and often relied on the generosity of friends and family to get by. Hunt's addiction and financial troubles worsened over time, leading to his divorce from his second wife. His failed economic ventures also made matters worse as he suffered heavy losses. Hunt continued to battle his addiction and financial difficulties for many years, and by the early 1990s, he was living in a small apartment in Wimbledon. Approaching his mid-40s, it seemed he had finally overcome many of his demons and achieved happiness. This was, however, not to last long. Hunt died at the age of 45 of a heart attack at his home in Wimbledon, SW19, sadly, only hours after having proposed to Helen, his girlfriend at the time. So there you have it, folks. If you have found this video interesting, click on the link to the channel where you can watch more videos where we share with you the interesting chronicles, stories, innovations, incidents, and miracles that have taken place in the history of F1. Be sure to watch the video where we dive back in time to see one of the rarest innovations ever seen on an F1 car, which took the world of F1 by surprise and lasted only one race weekend before being buried by the FIA. The one race wonder banned by the FIA, the Brabham BT46B fan car. I hope you liked this video where we have witnessed the meteoric rise and the turbulent falls of one of the icons of F1 history. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons to get updated on these exciting videos of the F1 racing world. Until next time, take care.